Live here.
Live!
But we don't have to necessarily know what that means.
What's the someday of blank?
I don't
there's
know
a
that we
reason
want
this story happens now.
Ladies and gentlemen, the movie writes itself. Ooh.
I'm still streaming. How do I stop streaming? No! Hello?
Hello. I don't know why we're in this view.
I like it.
Do you like this view better?
I do quite like this view better. I feel like I can...
Versus like BAM?
I know. I like both. I like both for their own. I like both for their own reasons, for their own unique reasons.
Their own unique reasons. Yes. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Ben and Jake Write a Movie, episode 39.
Yep.
Crazy town.
Crazy and wild.
It is Monday, November 28th. We are back after the Thanksgiving holiday and my sister's wedding and all this time that we were away from this wonderful virtual world that we've created.
We actually got to see each other in person, which was very nice.
Yeah, it was very nice. Yes. After having worked in person for
years. Yeah, I know. It was like really. Yeah. I mean, I've been down to LA. I think it was my fourth trip down to LA this year, actually.
Fourth? Really?
Yeah. I came down in January for my birthday. I came down for the advanced screening of The Princess. I came down for our screening of The Princess. And I came down just now. 4 times. Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
So we're back to
we
write our wonderful screenplay. And in the meantime, since we're back, we should do one of our little let's fireside chats.
There was something I was just looking at on Screenwriter Reddit, and which was about, and I'd replied to this person's their original post about this person watched a movie on Netflix. And it bore shocking similarities to a movie that they had pitched in the past. Now, I don't know if they pitched this to Netflix. I'm not really talking about the concept of the original, the actualities of the facts about this original post, but it's what do you do when you are out in the world and you suddenly see a movie or you see a project out in the world. You had had this experience on Reddit with a not very nice saying, there was a project that was very similar and now this one is done. Or, damn, that's the movie that I was writing, or that's the movie that I picked.
Tell you what you don't do.
Yes.
You don't send a message to the writer of the other movie on Reddit saying, fuck you.
That's what you don't do. Yes, because that's mean and is creating horrible karma for you.
It's
and we
terrible.
Don't want to have horrible karma.
Yeah.
It's okay to be upset about something. It's not to say you can't have your feelings of immense frustration, because we've had them as well. Mm-hmm. We were prepping a pitch. We had an idea. Oh, there it is.
It happens. After we sold Winter's Night, I distinctly remember going to at least 2 rooms, if not 3, whereby people told us that our script killed their project. Congratulations and fuck you at the same time.
Yeah. Well, wasn't there? So there were 2 examples. One was around the same time. There was so for those of you who don't know, Winter's Night is the origin story of Santa Claus, told as a Viking action adventure. It's the script that me and Ben broke in with in 2014. And in the previous year, in 2013, on the blacklist, there was a script called Nicholas, which was a historic movie about Nicholas of Myra, the literal Saint Nicholas.
Sure.
And it started to gain some traction. And yes, we were in a room and we were talking with someone. I think it was at Hollywood Gang, actually. I want to say it was at the Hollywood Gang. And they were saying, we were literally in this office with the person when the deadline of your sale came through. And he was just like, no. And then the other was, I'm getting an echo. Are you getting an echo?
I'm getting an echo from you, but I'm not really sure why.
We've had this before.
But it's not too bad.
No, it's bad for me. Give me a second. Hold on while I just sort my... Right.
Basically, I'm going to continue Jake's story. We were at Universal with an exec at Universal, and they said, like a month before your script, or maybe it was a year before, but it was very soon.
I think it was a few months.
I think it was a few months before. Someone else, a much bigger writer than we were at the time, had come in to pitch them a movie based on the same public domain book that we used as inspiration in ours. So it was The Life and Adventures of Santa Claus by L. Frank Baum. Yeah. And this executive was the one who had been bidding on our scripts when it was on at the market. Had lost it to Sony. But he was like, I didn't even bid on that one.
Yeah, totally. So, you know, point being, it happens to absolutely everyone.
Everybody.
And it can happen both ways. It absolutely can, as we're just talking about right now. When we were writing, we've got a script out in the world at the moment called 40 Thieves, a project at what was 20th Century Fox at the time with Sean Levy directing, called 40 Thieves. And we were like, shit, it's happened at the same time.
Yeah, that was back then.
That was back then.
And now, when we just were like a week before we were going to go out with it, Disney announces a reimagining of Arabian Nights.
Absolutely right.
It happened. And in fact, the 40 Thieves script is what this person on Reddit told us to go fuck ourselves over. But the reality is, like, you'll never know what's out in the market. You hope that your agents help with that. It's part of why we tell our agents what we're working on, or at least try to, because if there's things that have just sold that haven't been in the news, because let me tell you, the news takes a long time most of the time to get there. Sometimes a year. Projects will have been sold a year ago and it will only just get announced.
Yeah. Typically, we found that business affairs takes about 3 to 4 months before a deal is closed. So when you're reading this today, it's old news. And then if it's a spec, well, that spec was started years ago as well. You know, it's like there's this whole thing. Now, obviously, the aspects that we were talking about right now are public domain ideas. So again, it's a space me and Ben have played a lot in the past. There's nothing you can do about that. There's just nothing you can do about public domain stuff. I mean, I've been working on a book for a little while. Well, the movie Spirited that just came out on Apple plays in a similar space. Not exactly, but a similar space. And I was just like, but whatever. You just go, well, mine's different, whatever, you know. But public domain stuff, you're never gonna have control over that. Now, when there is an idea that's uniquely yours, you have to remember this as well, that if you haven't exposed that idea to anyone else, you know, you can't copyright an idea.
You can't. And there's really no such thing as a truly original idea. I mean, that's the thing, is even you think that you're the only one who's ever thought of this amazing, wonderful, beautiful idea. And maybe your version is unique to yourself because you come to it with your own experiences. But someone else has thought of that same idea somewhere, maybe even at the exact same time. It just, there's only so many. There's only, you know, and there's only so many stories to be told. And the reality is that you can look at a story and go, well, but I was going to do the same type of a movie about the 40 Thieves. Well, what kind of movie are you doing? Or I was going to do a movie about a detective who fell in love with the girl that he was investigating for. Well, that could be a million things.
Yeah.
And the reality is, if it is too close, even if it's so different and yet still lives in the same world or the same genre, you can knock it out. Like, places may not want to do it. I mean, look, we just got a pass on 40 Thieves because it was too close to Dungeons and Dragons. Now, I just saw the trailer for Dungeons and Dragons, and I understand what they're talking about.
I do too. And yet also
the trailer, and yet at the same time, it's not the same movie at all.
Totally. We're already playing with a thief-feast type heisty thing that has comedic elements in a fantasy world.
Where they put together a team in an Ocean's 11 style thing. Right. And you go, okay. We had things that people passed on when we took Final Fantasy out the first time, where they were like, we have things that are too similar. And it's like, basically they had a show with a female protagonist who had magic.
Totally. I mean,
that's it.
Wheel of Time, they felt too similar to Final Fantasy. And it's not, again, not in any meaningful way, but they went, oh, hang on.
Right. But you just, I think the point is you just never know.
Yeah.
The Hollywood gods will either shine upon you or not. You can't try. You can do your best to mitigate your risks by talking to your representation, finding out what's sold, watching the trades, being educated. I mean, we look at Deadline, we look at IMDb Pro. I know
there's also, again, what I find interesting is we used to use it all the time, was done deal.
Yeah, done deal.
We sometimes have a deal that hasn't made it onto.
Yep. There are services like the tracking board. I don't find these services to be 100% accurate all the time, but at least it educates you a little as to who's got what out there.
It does. Yeah, tracking board's interesting, isn't it? It used to be the Scoggins report as well used to do what scripts were going out.
Yeah.
And you would go, oh, that's it. Okay, let me see what's going out. And occasionally you would be like, oh, that's our fucking idea.
Yeah. Oh, we've had so many ideas. Thankfully, only a few actual written pieces that we got fucked on. But so many ideas where we've been like, this would be awesome. And we quickly go and Google and look at all the websites and we're like, fuck, it was just done last month.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, totally. So then there are some other aspects though too. Like, what if you actually pitched somewhere and 2 or 3 years later, a movie that was very similar to the one you pitched comes out? What does one do then?
Well, one can sue. And it happens all the time. And I know of a very specific example where that person had exactly what you're talking about and won, or at least won because they settled out of court, which is what a lot of times people will do to just not have an issue.
Yes, and it not be public, and there be a public ruling on it.
But with that, there has to be so much evidence.
Yeah, there does.
That it is undeniable that this place stole from you, or at least they don't want to be accused of stealing from you. The reality is they may not have. They may have just thought 6 months later in their subconscious, it'd be great, a movie about blank. And then they have a writer who wrote their own version. And as Jake said, you can't copyright an idea, but you can copyright the specific execution of the idea. And in the United States, you can basically sue for anything.
Sure. However, you also have to play this idea, don't you, about going, if I am a writer of any level, do I want to go out there in the world and cause a big ruckus and be known as difficult and be known as someone who is going to sue? That person will probably never work at that studio again.
No.
You have to weigh up the cost-benefit ratio of these things. That's not to say if a gross injustice has been done, you shouldn't fight it. I'm not suggesting that. I think if something has been really done and property has been stolen, then I think justice is the right thing that one should seek for. Because ultimately, you are being denied potentially enormous amounts of money. You're being denied not only your salary, but also residual payments and credit and all those things, which there are money.
If we had sent Winter's Night to Universal, and then a year later we saw that they were in development on the origin story of Santa Claus that was a Viking version, even if it was a totally different version, that is enough of a specific take that we would have had the right to sue. And the reality is, would we have worked for Universal again? That would be the cost benefit.
That would be.
However, would the other studios not work with us? I don't think so. I think the other studios would go, you know what? I read Winter's Night, and they're absolutely fucking right to sue.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
But you do risk losing the ability to work for that studio. But then again, I will also say, only as long as that studio is run by the same people and have the same business affairs department, which tends to change every about 5 years or so.
About 5 or 6 years. Yeah, I feel like all the studios when we first worked in, generally,
some of them are still there, but many of them have moved on to other positions at other places.
Yeah.
But you will, look. There, like you said, there is a cost benefit to things. And if you look and you go, this this place stole my idea. I was in there and pitched them 10 years ago, and I wanted to do a movie about rainbows, and now they're doing a movie about rainbows.
Oh, the rainbow movie.
And you just go, dude, like, let it go.
Yeah.
Let it go, let it go, let it go.
I know. Yeah. And I think that ultimately is it. Is you go, oh, shit. I had this, what I thought was an incredibly unique idea. Someone else has an incredibly unique idea that happens to be exactly the same as mine. And they got theirs made. And you go, that sucks. Good for them. And get on with your life.
Yeah. Actual intellectual property theft is important to defend.
Yes.
There's no question in my mind. You absolutely, I mean, it happens and it's wrong.
Yes.
But the idea that people have the same ideas and maybe there's an executive that happened to overlook and whatever, you got to weigh the future of your career.
Yeah.
And also, you know, you may not be right.
So here's an interesting example from our own personal lives. We're friends with a couple of writers, and they had a script that did very well in certain Coverfly, you know, competitions, etc. And we've been developing a movie that lives in I'll say an adjacent space.
Adjacent.
And we've been developing this with the producer for now about 2 years.
2 years.
And recently he came to us and said, I want to develop it one more notch to be basically the same concept as our friend's movie, but told from a different perspective.
Yeah.
And it's like, and we actually told this to our friends. We're like, hey, just so you know, we know you have this script. We're being pushed with this idea that we have that was this, now to live much closer to what yours is. And this producer, I doubt, read that script.
No way. Not a chance. He has no idea.
You know,
he has no idea.
You know, and you go, that's an example of a good idea.
Yes. And the producer and our friends happen to have the same idea. And because they each came from it from a very different perspective. I mean, our producer took our original pitch, which was nothing like our friend's movie, and then said, but what if?
Yes.
And then it became like their movie. And I know we're being very kind of like, what's the word? Like not elusive or whatever.
Vague.
We don't vague because we don't want to like talk specifics. But the reality is, I think it's a good thing to acknowledge. Get upset. Throw your computer at the wall.
Have a drink.
Buy a new computer. And write a new script. That's what I told them.
Yeah, and that's it. And take comfort in this. You're in the ballpark of good ideas.
Yeah, that's true.
You're able to produce the kind of ideas that Hollywood wants to buy. And that's great. Yeah. That's actually validation. Although it's kind of, you know, a runner-up prize, you go, well, at least I'm having.
I know. At least I'm like in the zone.
We had a similar thing not that long ago. We came up with this brilliant idea, great idea. We pitched it to our manager, and my manager was like, "That's a great idea. That's exactly the same as this script that Derek Kolstad wrote 3 years ago and sold to YouTube Red and has just gotten back." Same idea. We were like, "Oh, we have good ideas."
Yeah, it does. It happens all the time. And it sucks. And I feel for everybody that goes through it. I feel for
people. I do.
And I think you just have to know that you will go through it. Every writer will go through it. Every writer will read the trades one day and go, "No, my script just died." I remember we were taking out a script very early in our career, before our first sale. It was called Beauty and the Beasts, plural. And it was a sequel reimagining to Beauty and the Beast. It wasn't even our idea. We were approached by a producer to write somebody else's idea, and we did. And it was a super fun script. And like 2 weeks before we were ready to go out, they announced that Guillermo del Toro was going to do Beauty and the Beast. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Now, he never ended up even making that movie.
Right.
But there were two that we had heard about, and we were like, fuck. And of course ours didn't sell. Yep. Because
they were all talking about that other one.
What are you gonna do? Anyway.
Get a drink.
Good chat. Now hopefully nobody's gonna steal this.
There's someone writing this right now, basically.
Right now. Well, it's funny. Craig Mazin said on our favorite other podcast with John and Craig, Script Notes. I remember him saying at one point, like, if you're worried about someone stealing your idea, you're just green. Because, like, you have to, if you're not willing to share your ideas with people, then how are they ever going to get out there?
No, totally.
You know, like, you have to be willing to go into a room with people you've just met 5 minutes ago and pitch them your very best ideas.
Yes.
And you're not going to have them sign an NDA.
I'm not going to have them sign an NDA. I'll tell you this, but you have to sign this paper. That's just not the way people.
And you don't know. You just met them. How are you supposed to trust them? Well, you just have to fucking trust.
Yeah, indeed. Let's crack on with the script. Now, I don't remember where we were.
I know, right? This is the funny thing. Okay, so because we're dealing with our process here, so it's Monday, November 28th. We've been off for a full week.
Yeah,
we've been away for 9 days.
10 days.
It was Friday, wasn't it?
No, because we were
off. No, it was Thursday. Holy shit! Yeah, it's been 10 days since we've been writing on this.
Not even the concept anymore.
And that happens. And it's hard to get back in. And I think it's valuable to kind of just do that. Like, how do you get back in when you've had to pause on a project for a while and you don't remember where you were?
Well, this is why in your best practices, you're writing everything down.
But we don't always do that.
And we've absolutely gone, oh, hang on, with that great idea. Why didn't we write that down? I think
we try.
Because we're being watched. Do as I do, not as I say. Hang on, wait, what?
Not as I do.
But we do have, I think we have been fairly good about keeping logs of our thoughts, because we need that to be documented for our sake.
I think we have too. I think the last stuff we wrote actually wasn't on our scratch. I feel like we were writing it at the bottom of our outline.
We were. And what we were talking about as well was we were going into some character stuff. We were going, is there a way to just make sure that we are developing our characters, making sure we have arcs for our characters? I'd asked a few questions about Charlize character, and whether or not she was truly experiencing an arc, and what that was. What were her strengths? What were her weaknesses? What does she want? What does she need? You know? I
think we covered all of that.
We did.
We were just about ready. I wonder if we even made some changes to the beginning to
yes, we did.
To fix those things earlier on.
Yes, we did. It was about elements of her being this kind of Susie homemaker at the start, but us seeing that moment of her going, I'm actually not happy in this life.
Yes, that it's all a lie.
Yes.
That she's not being her authentic self. That's exactly what it was. Yes.
I wonder if there's just, and again, just asking these questions about some of our other characters. And one of the things I think that we had said was we need to do this for Hank as well. Because what's Hank's arc? You know, in what way does his character develop? In what way is he going to be different?
Yes.
At the end of the or is he not? Because sometimes you can do that with characters, particularly supporting characters. You can say there is something where he hasn't learned anything, and that's sad, and that's a bad thing. You are the same way you are at the end as you are. But I think because Hank's a hero,
it tends to be more of a villain type thing.
Totally, yeah. I think with Hank, I kind of do want to explore that, you know.
Not necessarily in the same gravity way.
No, exactly.
I think so. It's interesting. I just pulled up our outline, and all it says at the very bottom is next session. Why do we care? Answer for both Hank and Sam.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because when we interviewed Matthew Sand, that was one of the things that he said, wasn't it? He has
why do we care?
Why do we care? You know? And I think, well, let's just talk about Hank for a second.
Yeah.
Mine's on Hank at the moment.
Yeah.
So Hank's an interesting dude. Hank lives alone. Hank has seen some shit, I think.
Right.
You know, I find that to be interesting with characters who fight the forces of darkness because you feel like they've seen some shit. You feel that John Constantine seen some shit. And that just like soldiers in war, that shit stays with them. This is why he lives alone. You know, he probably likes a drink. You know?
Yeah, I think so.
He deals with the darkness that he's seen out in the world, fighting demons, you know.
Right.
And I find that to be interesting to explore.
Yeah, and I think tonally, though, there's something about, and I'm using David Harbour as a archetype for the moment, but the way he is on Stranger Things, even though technically like the crazy shit hadn't necessarily happened yet, you've got this feeling that he's seen some shit, even though like I don't really know what that shit is, but you get this feeling.
He lost his wife and his daughter, didn't he?
He did, but there was like yes, and so there's a bit of a darkness to him. But where I was going was, I don't think Hank, because of the tone of the movie as a whole, I don't think Hank is John Constantine or a vet from Vietnam or like, I feel like there needs to be, I like the fact that you're saying he's a drinker. I think that's fun. I think that there's opportunities for real fun humor with him. The other character that I would go with is in Zombieland, Woody Harrelson.
Yes, totally.
He's a great comp for this character. Although he's probably one notch more comedic than I would go. It's kind of somewhere in between.
Well, I think the whole tone of that movie is comedic, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
So yeah.
But I wonder, like when we say like he's seen some shit, one of the things that I was thinking is what we've set up so far is this guy who, and I think I mentioned this last time actually, this guy who doesn't seem to have a life versus how Charlize has been trying to have a life. Hank lives alone.
Yep.
He clearly works a job that he's not friends with all the other coworkers because they invite him out and he doesn't go with them.
Yeah.
And we learn that he's this kind of single-minded loner.
Yeah.
And I think what we should want, why we care about him, is because here's a guy who has dedicated his life to good and the forces of good and has sacrificed any sort of normalcy as a result. And what we want from him is normalcy, at least whatever normalcy looks like for him, which is why intersecting with Charlize at the end, they both gain a family. Now, Charlize is able to be authentic. Hank is able to have people in his life who he actually like, who know him, understand him, and want to be with him. I think that there's an intersection in that way.
Okay, you know? So there's something interesting that was occurring to me as you were talking about that. So Hank is a demon hunter. He knows demons almost better than he knows people. You know, so when he ends up working with Charlize, there's weirdly a kind of synergy there. Right. It's like I know who and what you are.
Right. Like I actually understand you, and for Charlize, that's kind of cool.
Totally. There is a thing that he goes.
The only difference is his belief about what they are is pure evil. Yes. And so Charlize actually breaks that belief.
Yes, totally. Absolutely right. I think he, at the beginning, has this belief that you're a kind of person, you're a kind of being, kind of person just for the sake of talking, you know, who can never change.
Right.
You are this kind and you're never going to be any different.
Right.
And then over the course of the movie, he realizes that that belief is wrong.
Right.
And that actually benefit can come out of that.
I mean, in a weird way, and it's like, without getting too religious about it, it's he sees all demons as the spawns of Satan, period.
Right.
And the truth is that they're all God's creatures, and they're able to be they have the ability to be something else if they choose to.
Totally.
And Satan chose to be bad and thus ended up going to hell.
Absolutely.
And not necessarily that he was just born evil forever.
Sure.
And so there is a bit of that being a really nice kind of growth for Hank. But I think that if you were really going to simplify Hank's arc, he goes from a loner to someone with a family.
Right.
He goes from someone who won't let anyone in to finally letting people in. And it's almost the same as Charlize.
It's almost the same
as Charlize. That's actually okay.
But in a different way. Yeah. And again, you're talking about his personality traits.
Sam's the same.
Right. Yes. He's got this sarcastic, biting sense of humor. And I like the fact that he's funny. Like if anyone's gonna generate a laugh in this movie, it's really gonna be him. Yeah. Absolutely. But he uses that as this cover. Yeah. It's almost like his shield. It's his mask. And we talk about that sometimes, don't we? It's like you have this front to the world, and then you have one scene where he just goes, here's who I really am. But I
had this interesting idea, and I don't know, but like, what if Hank is kind of an alcoholic?
I like it.
But what's interesting about that is that you have Sam, who's attempting to recover as an addict. So at first, Hank has to get rid of his booze, right? He can't drink around her when he realizes that, him and Charlize would have to come to the realization that, like, this is not good for her. We have to keep her away from this stuff. But Hank, as an alcoholic, slips up and he keeps his little flask. Yeah. And at one point, Sam finds it and kind of relapses in her own way.
Or is able to pull him out of it, and that's what brings them closer.
Well, that's interesting, too. So she actually uses her attempts to not be an addict to help him with his alcoholism.
Yes. I'm seeing a moment of them together when, like, she's got the bottle, the flask. Right. She's like, I found this. And she's like, I want to fucking drink this so badly right now. And he's like, I know how you feel. And she's able to go, let's both not do this together. And ultimately they kind of become like almost like each other's sponsor in that way.
Yeah, they're each other's support system. Yeah. Sure. Yeah. And as I was saying, it's like, why do we care about Sam? Well, I mean, here's the thing. First of all, from just purely a movie entertainment perspective, young girl loses her family, is an addict, but is going to NA, and you care about her.
You do.
Immediately. In fact, that's why we did what we did and went back. We already asked this question, which is, how do we like her?
Yeah, how do we like her?
Yeah.
So or at least yeah.
Indeed. And we don't want to see her become the Antichrist for multiple reasons.
Yes.
One, because we like her, and two, because we'd rather the Antichrist not come to Earth.
Absolutely. The Antichrist is bad.
And Sam literally starts the movie with her family dying, and ends the movie with a new family.
Great.
So all three of them do the same thing in their own unique ways that are very specific to their
three
really
I mean, again, going back to this concept that we talked about very briefly, that I always like this paradigm of orphan, wanderer, warrior, martyr. These kind of four kind of archetypes that you grow throughout the movie. And in one sense, each of these characters are orphans at the beginning. That being, they somehow feel separate from, different, or literal orphans. Then they become wanderers. They're looking for a solution to a problem. They're searching for something. Then they become warriors. They're actually going to fight to get what they actually want. And ultimately, this concept of going, I'm willing to sacrifice my life for the greater good, but by the end, becoming the complete opposite of this concept of an orphan, because they have all found each other over the course of this adventure. It's a beautiful thing. That's
beautiful thing. So yeah, a demon hunter and the Antichrist become a family.
Walk into a bar. Let's just make some notes about what we just talked about with Hank, and I agree. I think we already have it present with Sam.
Yeah, I think so too. All right, let me Let me present.
I'll just do this moment to say, if you're enjoying this series, I know Ben and I are getting a lot out of it. If you're liking it, watching it on YouTube, please give us a like. Please give us a subscribe. I think we're up to 160 subscribers now. So thank you so much to everyone who has been subscribing. Just go ahead and just hit that subscribe button again, so we can gain more visibility, gets this out there into the eyes of the people who are finding this beneficial. So there you go.
Yeah. So next section, why do we care? So we're going to say Hank is an alcoholic.
Yes, who's seen some darkness in his life.
Yeah, I mean, specifically, he's seen.
Yeah. Yes.
Right.
That's right. He has. Yeah.
Due to the darkness.
Yeah.
Seen in his life.
Yeah.
I mean, I do think we answered some of this in our earlier sessions.
Yes,
we do have Hank's anyway. Seen in his life. We also are saying that he is a loner.
He's a loner. He's pushed everyone away.
Given up.
Yeah.
A normal life.
Yeah.
To fight for good.
Yeah.
His arc will be to gain a family through letting his addiction go and allowing himself to open up to people.
Yeah. I like the concept again that his sarcastic humor is a cover for the pain.
Oh yeah, totally. Cover pain. And then scene where Sam helps him avoid a drink.
Great. Yes.
Okay.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it.
Great. Okay, cool. So now we've got all these bullet points, which is good. I'm actually going to, though, take these bullet points
and put them in the trash.
And put them in and put them on our scratch documents.
Yeah, sure.
Because they aren't needed here.
Just so I can just refresh myself just for a second. Just so that they're present in my mind again. So FBI gets involved. Obstacles become more complicated. They find Charlize's guys. It's the next section. Zod kidnaps boyfriend and kid. That's for later on. Zod beat where he realizes that it's Charlize. They disappear into the mirror before the cops come. Maybe they show up at the bookstore. Probably. Zod gets arrested by our FBI agent. In interrogation room, he walks into the two-way mirror. I love that moment. He doesn't know Charlize will be there or Hank. It's a job that becomes personal. Yes.
I think we addressed these.
I think we did too.
Go back and look, but I think we did. Yeah.
Yeah. Charlize has a past with him. What does he do that is smart and creative as a way to have a new obstacle to Charlize? This is still about Zod. Maybe it's the Sophie's choice of the family. Right. That's for later. Maybe Sam leaves of her own volition. Again, later, darkest moments.
Yeah.
Great. Okay.
So I'm pretty sure we did this stuff.
So we want to have a beat in the prologue where we fully understand what Charlize is and her relationship to Zod. 100 years later, we need to feel that she is pretending to be something she's not, but it's a front and it's exhausting. Scene in bookshop. I think we've done this too. At home, she feels like Susie Homemaker, but it's not real. She goes into the bathroom and lets down her hair, literally and metaphorically. Hank and Sam are the first people ever that she can be her true, authentic self with. This is Demon, an empathetic good person. That is Demon, an empathetic good person. She's gruff and has feelings. She's complicated and she's never felt comfortable with those complications. Her arc to get the family and the people in her life that she can be herself around. Yes. Yep.
So we... let's just quickly go because I want to delete the ones that are already done.
Yeah, great. I agree. Yeah.
And I think that what we say here, we're in here. Charlize, was that really necessary? Establish that this is something she got from him, and they are in a sexual relationship. But Charlize is having second thoughts. Then they all leave.
Right.
This ring, right, and then so. In the the first thing that we were saying, so in the bookstore, we were going to have. Oh, interesting.
What's this?
I thought we added this into the bookstore where we see that she's not actually. Did we not end up? I think we did stuff and it didn't save.
Dun, dun,
dun, dun, dun. Let me see, because I swear I remember writing
having the moment of
her like getting pissed, like not liking her life.
Let's have a look further down here. On the screen, Charlize in the car. Just come down to the next part down here. Okay. Playground. Sam's apartment. Is it here? So there it is. This is already like she's pretending to be normal. Okay, yes, it's not quite here in the way that it needs to be. Maybe as we were writing the notes, that was us thinking that we put it into this document because we did.
That is very possible.
And this is again what happens. When we wrote that, and we did, just not in the way that we thought we did. So
yeah. And then there's, I'm just gonna quickly though open the very last auto save from the day that we were.
You won't see this on. You won't see this on the screen.
Well, this is it. I mean, I just opened the.
Yeah, but we can't see that. We can only see your main window, just so you know.
You can see that I'm in the podcast outline.
Oh, there I can. Yeah.
Okay. So it would be, again, it's this bookstore moment. Yeah, I guess we just talked about it and didn't actually do it. All right. So this is what happens. Okay. So what we need to do.
I'm
going to actually, this will make this easier. I'm going to get those bullet points in this one. And then I'm going to be able to So Zod beat where he realizes that it's Charlize. Then let's make sure that we did that. So that is, and I think this one we did do, but we shall see. So, Sam's apartment. Okay. Kicked in. Zod and the gang. Holy shit, it's Charlize. After 100 years, this is where he finds her. Is he wondering if she's on his side for the moment? So we did do that.
We did.
So, next one. They disappear into the mirror before the cops come. How do they get away? Specific, we didn't know. But we do go back inside the apartment and they recover from the fight. Police, they find a mirror in Sam's apartment.
Yeah, that's it. Did that. Yeah, great.
So then, so
shop in the bookstore, but that's for later. Zod gets arrested by the FBI agent. That's later. In interrogation room. That's later.
Hank
we the prologue where we fully understand what Charlize is and her relationship to Zod. 100 years later, we need to feel that she is pretending to be something she's not, and it's a front, and it's exhausting.
Yeah, we were going to have in the prologue, we were saying, let's just straight up say that they're demons. Like, let's just see exactly what they are instead of a hint. Because you said that it might be confusing since we didn't really know. And that, like, so that this contrast, this idea that she's pretending to be what she is, like, would be stronger if we know that she's a demon,
right?
Pretending to be Susie Homemaker, basically.
Yeah.
So in the prologue, we have my ring. She turns around. So fight. Here we realize these are not just people.
Yeah.
So we can just say.
Do they transform?
I don't think. I mean, do they transform? I didn't think we were having them transform.
Well, one of the things that we talked about again in some version of some conversation is that it takes mental energy for them to be maintaining their human form. If they were to get into a big fist fight, that attention may be temporarily taken out so that we could have them physically appear like cool Darth Mauls.
Right. I guess in my memory, I thought we were only ever showing them in that way through their own view of each other. So it was what we had talked about, that they see each other that way.
Yeah.
And that they look that way in mirrors.
So could we shift in this scene to the way that they view each other?
We could. We could.
Yeah.
So how do we do that though without it being
a complete shot call or
well, I mean, a shot call even would be fine, but how as a viewer do you know that all of a sudden I'm watching them look at each other?
Yeah, I don't know.
Unless what you had was, okay, so here's a version. It might be a little confusing, but
yeah.
Let's say you have this pipe break, the water spills. The camera sees them in the water as demon. The camera comes back up, and now we're seeing them as they see each other as both demons.
Yeah.
But then a guy walks in, like a security guy, and he sees them and they're just humans or something like that.
Yeah, I'm just worried that, I mean, if I was watching that, I might just be confused as well. I just might be confused. Hang on, wait, what are they shape-shifting? Are they looking this way
if we're really talking about trying to make this a reasonable budget movie, I do not think that transforming, with all the other things that we're trying to do in this movie at the moment, like actual transformation, probably just...
I mean, surely it's just making... They're not going CGI'd. They're not going to be CGI demons, are they? They're going to be...
Well, they have to transform into it, though. So unless you're cutting away from them and then cutting back in an old, like, 80s style lame way, you're going to use CGI to create that. Yes, then they'll be in makeup, but you're gonna every time that happens, you're gonna end up having to use some form of CGI to do it.
Right.
But I also just kind of go... I mean, on the other hand, why are they transforming? Because the mental energy thing doesn't work for me because it's too much to explain.
Sure.
If they can only use their demonic strength through transforming, which is fine. Let's say we just say, fuck it, we'll forget the budget for a moment and just go for it.
Yeah, it's not blowing.
Then I understand when they get into a fight, they're a demon,
and that means we have to do it every time. Every time.
Well, every time they want to use superhuman strength, anyway.
Sure. Yeah.
Or any sort of demonic power that we want to.
Right.
And that's okay because when we see them in the prologue, they're not using demonic energy. They're trying to blend in, so they're looking like humans.
Yeah, sure.
Then they're down here fighting, and they would transform into demons to fight each other.
Yeah.
To then go back to looking like humans to get out of the building.
Right.
And I believe...
Well, it's fine. I mean, I think this is the version for it.
I mean, it's like the Hulk transformation, right?
Hulk. Yes.
Like, he doesn't have Hulk strength unless he transforms into the Hulk.
Right. Fine. I'm fine with that.
Okay. So we'll go with a transformation for right now.
Okay.
And so then we realize they're not just people. They transform.
They look demony.
Demon forms.
Yep.
Think Darth Maul. Maul. Okay. So this is going to happen whenever they want to use their demon power. Does it also happen in the bathtub? like when she gets, so she goes, it's actually a really fun moment, okay? She goes into the bathroom, right? At her house.
Mm-hmm.
She disrobes, and then as she steps, I mean, this is a CGI shot, but it'd be really fucking cool. As she steps into the tub, she turns into a demon as she goes into the water, and the water boils as she gets in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Sure.
Something like that.
Yeah.
We had her just kind of like putting her hand in or something and like using.
Yeah. That's cool. That's cool.
But like, is there a way to like utilize?
She's really like, she's locking the door. You know, yes. You know, it's I cannot be seen this way.
No.
Yeah. Totally.
Great. So we're just to keep going with what we're talking about here. So we're doing she's pretending to be something she's not, but it's in front and it's exhausting. A scene in the bookshop, we said. So in the bookshop, we're here in the bookstore, and we were going to do a moment where it's like she gets angry or something like that. Like she's frustrated. But I wonder if this is too soon. It almost is like, really, the first scene you're going to show her? Are we really going to get that this is all? Are we going to think this is all an act and that she's? I don't know. Like, is this?
I mean,
very quick.
Yeah. Ultimately, the most important thing is to show that somehow she is unsatisfied with her life. That, I think, is the most important thing. This is what we're establishing in this opening.
So what's a simple, quick way to show that in this scene? Because I like that. That's exactly right.
Yeah. I think
she's not authentic. She has a big smile. The cashier runs out and she goes, oh, like,
and then she looks down the barrel of the camera and she says, "I'm so unsatisfied." Yes, totally. I think that's it. She has a very nice, surfacey conversation with person in this town. How are they doing? All the usual Susie homemaker shit, you know.
Right. So before she tells the cashier, so a customer comes in.
Yeah.
She should be the you know who she is? She's what's her name in WandaVision, who's like, "Hi, it's so good to see you. Oh my gosh, you look great today." And it's like, oh my God, get her out of here, you know? She's the town talker and, you know, housewife who has decided to make Charlize
totally, you know, she's collecting for a raffle. Oh, these are
that kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Charlize puts on a smiley face.
Yeah.
Well, after the woman leaves, she sighs of exhaustion.
Yeah.
Then she tells her cashier she's headed to lunch.
Yes.
Okay. This is not her authentic.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Great. So then, scene in bookshop. So then we're going to get Hank and Sam of the first. This is just talking about her.
Yeah.
We were going to have another moment of her. Let's go to the bathtub moment.
Yes. Moment she'll transform.
Yes. So let's see here. Diner. So on the screen, we get in the car. We're back with Sam. Sam's on probation.
My wife's just bringing me a coat in the background.
Hello, Siri.
Live.
Hello, live in our homes with our families. All right. Forever to be memorialized on the internet. So instead of her putting the hand, so the room fills with steam as she undresses, which is cool. In the mirror, we see a glimpse. Are we doing the mirror thing if they're transforming? I don't think we need to do the mirror.
I don't think we need to do the mirror thing.
They can still come out in and out of mirrors, which is cool.
Yeah.
So as Charlize gets in, she transforms, and the water boils. And I think that'd be like one of those cool things where, slowly she kind of lowers down.
Yeah, totally.
And her body, as it hits the water, it becomes red, and the water starts to boil.
Yeah, totally.
It doesn't burn. It feels amazing. And we should say, Charlize locks the door tight.
Right. Great.
So then in her home, we're going to have. So here's now with Hank. Let's think about what we just talked about in terms of Hank's.
Okay, so we meet him in a supermarket. Chop, butcher's nice, going through meat and bone. It's Hank.
It's not his buddy.
His shit. We think you mean shift.
Yes. So another coworker.
Yes.
Tells him. Asks
him if he wants to come out for a drink. Now, here's a question: I'm just going to ask? Is this too overt? Is there a more subtle way of portraying that Hank is not part of the group? Are there a group of?
I don't think this is unsubtle. Someone saying, "Hey, Hank, you coming with us tonight?" And he's like, "I'm good." My
question is this: why would that person think that Hank wants to come out for a drink with them?
I mean, he could also be like,
has Hank ever done that?
No, probably not.
So but that's why I'm asking,
right?
It just kind of goes, unless it's a new guy at work that just doesn't know that Hank's not the kind of guy who comes out.
That's way too complicated. But I agree.
The other version of the scene is there's a group of people all, laughing and joking in the break room. And as soon as Hank walks in, they all just kind of give him a wide berth because it's weird Hank.
I don't think he's weird Hank though. I don't want to create the awkward weird guy that no one wants to hang out with. I don't think that's who he is. I think he's a loner.
Okay.
I don't think he's weird.
So is it then, hey Hank, I know you're probably going to say no, but I wanted to ask anyway. It's my birthday today. Or wait, a few of us are going for drinks after work. And he goes,
I think he just says, thanks, man. Got plans. And he's like, you always have plans. He's like, busy guy. And then we go home and we realize that his plans are literally with a fucking team.
Okay, cool, great.
Ask him to join them drinks for someone's birthday. He says he has plans. He always has plans.
Right.
I'm a popular guy.
Yeah.
Which is the opposite, obviously, right?
Yeah.
Then he gets in and he goes with a dinner plate. He's not a popular guy. This is his date, basically. Who the fuck is this guy?
Now
where is the?
Yeah, there's no demon in this scene anymore.
There's no more demon in it.
No, we cut that out. It's just that he has.
He just has stuff.
Someone is in there, but it's not. Yeah.
You're right. Okay, well, it's fine. He's certainly not.
Yes.
Not popular.
Yeah, great.
It's basically this is his big plan. Is going into his shed in the basement.
Yes, absolutely right. Yeah. And again, like you said, at this point in the movie, we should not know that Hank is a good guy.
No.
This is someone who is potentially really fucking dangerous to Sam.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, great.
Yes.
Great.
And here's the first time the other demon comes around.
Yes.
So she smells sulfur, but we're not going to see him as a demon.
Right.
Sure enough, down one of the aisles, a creepy man is fucking with the customers.
Yeah.
And he'll transform when she pulls him into the back.
Correct.
Now, how do we know that she smells sulfur? Because she asked the cashier. Sorry. Sure enough, down one of the aisles, a creepy guy is fucking with the customer, sneaks up on him just the last minute before she grabs him by the neck, pulls him into the back room. In the back room, the guy transforms.
Great.
Into a demon.
Yeah.
So does Charlize.
Yes.
Or Charlize locks the door behind her.
Yes. Great.
She locks the door.
Right.
So does she.
We're at an hour.
Wow. Okay. Great.
Good. Well, this is good to just to reconnect with this today, to go into some stuff about Hank and just make the changes in the outline so that when it comes to actually writing this puppet, and honestly, our outline is, it will just be populating it with slightly more detail. The intention of each scene is there. The script as much as the past writes itself when you have a good outline.
It's looking good. I mean, we've got 17 pages of outline, which is freaking
absolutely right. Yeah.
All right. So,
excellent stuff, dude.
Leandro said Constantine was a drunk and it helped mold a relatable character that the audience connected with. Yeah, that's true.
Absolutely.
That is very true. Thanks, Leandro. Good to be back. Yes. Awesome. Well, thanks everybody for joining us today. Don't forget, we are also on the Apple podcast and Spotify, although those episodes are getting up slower.
Yes.
They are now going to be getting up a little bit faster. We found help. We found a production assistant who will help us get these things done the right way. So awesome. Thanks, everybody.
See you again. Bye.